Hey there YouTube, this is Derek, or Leica 101, and this video, now that my videos are finally getting uploaded again, 2 thumbs up for that. It's having problems with my internet or something, but videos are going to be back on the way soon, and I figured, well, what better way to start than let's get talking about my Dragonrider. I mentioned the Dragonrider class. In an earlier video, it's a 20 level, like level 1 through to level 20 class, put out by Genius Guide to Gaming. It's one of these freelance kind of companies, or smaller companies I should say, and it's excellent. You can buy the PDF for like $1 or $2 over at Paizo's website, and it's pretty amazing. So I already went over what the class is about, so let's go over what my character is. I'm going to give you guys a nice look into my character. So first things foremost, my character's name is Diagothalus, and his mount is named Straga. Now, let's go into a little bit of background real quick about what Diagothalus is. Everyone just calls him D in the party because they can't pronounce his name. So, it's kind of sad at that. But anyway, so D, as he's affectionately referred to by the party, is what is known as a beast person in the campaign world that we're playing in. What that means is he has an affinity for nature, more so than an elf or a shifter or anything else that you are thinking about, in the fact that he literally takes on aspects of different creatures. For example, D's first ability is that he has corrosive blood, meaning it's an ability from, I believe it's Bestiary 2 or 3, from the Deathworm. Any kind of metal object that slashes into him and has his blood run across it takes basically what is almost equivalent to acid damage, and has to succeed a save or it begins to melt away. And that's just his first ability, and Beast People get 3 of those in addition to some other things. This is a custom race that our DM has created, and I think it's pretty awesome. So currently D and Straga are level 8, but I just have to level them up because we finished a campaign we finished a session on Friday. So we're speeding, I think it's speed leveling to 5, I think it was, or it might be to 10, I can't remember. But anyway, that is a topic for another time. Let's get talking about D himself. D is, like I said, a member of the Beast People, and they are pretty tribalistic, and his father and family used to be a very prominent member of the clans. So he was pretty much like a second in command, like an advisor to the chief, until one day everything went, downhill and blew up in their faces, and the family found themselves tossed out onto the sides and ostracized. And one day when D, his dad, and his little sister were away from the house that they had built out in the woods, they were out hunting and gathering food. They come back and his mother was murdered, and on the wall is an etching of a demonic face with this triangular shape in the middle of its mouth. And it basically drove his dad insane and into almost like a vegetative state where he just didn't want to do anything. And like I said, because Dee's mother was murdered and she was found hanging, and the message on the wall was written in his mother's blood. So he has pretty dark history, and he's pretty much vowed revenge on whoever did this. And that's where he goes out into the woods and pleads with basically the universe with his mind, body, and soul, and his spirit, which he uses to call into the ethereal animal planes, I suppose you could say. And he passes out in the woods, and he has a dream where he's approached by a dragon, and basically the dragon says, "We will grant you this power for revenge that you seek. Know only that when we call upon you, you will serve." And then the dragon breathes fire down onto him into his dream, and when he awakens, there is a dragon hatchling next to him. And that's Straga. So that's the story about how D and Straga come together, and Straga agrees with the quest for vengeance and getting the revenge on this order that over the years D and Straga learn is called the Obsidian Order, and is a global organization bent on destruction from within of society. And then until up till recently, they've now evolved to world domination, which is something weird for them. But D and Straga don't care; they just want to see the entire order wiped out. So currently, as of session 1, we'll just give you a quick recap of each session and keeping notes for you guys. Session 1, we were hired. Each of the group members hired individually through discrete means to take out a infestation of goblins out in some mountains, and we were going to be rewarded for it. So I start off the session by flying down the mountaintop and breathing acid all over a couple of goblins who just melt away into nothingness. The rest of the party's terrified. I felt pretty awesome about it. Straga felt pretty awesome about it. And then I jumped off Straga and stabbed a goblin in the face, and then it died. So then afterwards, when we get to meet the party together, we go inside this small cave and there's a chest. We open the chest, of course, being adventurers. Moreover, I had somebody else open it because D can be kind of intimidating with having a dragon with him. So people were intimidated and they went and they opened the chest, and behind the cave mouth we hear a slow clapping. We turn around and there's this guy who is pretty screwed up in the head. We eventually found out that his name is Richard, and literally he's insane, and that he hired us. And then basically what he does is he takes us all out, knocking us all out, and he says we have to head to the town of Zill to find out what's going on. But like I said, he's pretty crazy, so he knocked us all out. Once we get to Zill, we learn that it's also the location of one of the members of the Obsidian Order. So naturally, what do? I say, let's kill this guy. So D and Straga are all about killing this guy, and for whatever reason, the rest of the party is down with it. So they pretty much, I don't want to say that I'm in like the leader position or anything, but like I said, I'm pretty sure it's just because I have a dragon, so they get kind of terrified. So I have a dragon, and they're just like, okay, well, let's go kill this guy. Turns out this guy is in a position of authority, and he's pretty much like the right-hand man of the city, and has like a house guard of like 15 dudes, and two-story house at the edge of a cliff. And needless to say, over an hour and a half of real time, not in-game time, real time, we devise a strategy between the 6 of us to get in there and assassinate this guy, in which we succeed, thankfully. And there was a wonderful interrogation where D basically got to beat the shit out of this guy until he got the information that he wanted. We said what we could get from him was that Richard, the crazy guy, was in this town called Uluru. And then we have some people that can read thoughts based upon their race. And basically there's a she involved in some kind of plot, and there's some kind of prophecy involved. And then afterwards we all leave the city because obviously there's a commotion going on at the guy's house, and we leave, and I get the name. We've got the name of where we need to go next. So we head out of the town just to try to get away, and then we are camping out in the wilderness, and in the middle of the night we all rest, and we are pulled into a dreamlike state where we basically are greeted by these beings that are called advocates. They're basically minor deities, and they all appear in the form of dragons. So obviously D is like, oh shit, the dragons have come to, with their charge that they want me to do for giving me this power, in response for giving me this power. So of course he's immediately like on his knees and just saying, yes, sure, I'll do whatever you say, just don't kill me, basically. And what we learn is that we have to stop the return of some evil entity who they just keep referring to as she. She is returning. She is coming back. We need you to stop her. And so we're like, okay. And they give us this cube. It's a cube about this big, and it's a golden cube. And we're told to take it to Kolo, a man named Kolo, and that he is in the Dwarven Kingdom, last that we heard, or they heard. and that in order to after that we have to head towards the Dragon's Den, which is an area I'm told is infested with dragons. And the whole world does not look kindly upon dragons, so I have to be very careful where I take Straga. Then we are blasted back into reality, and once there's a chest in the middle of our campsite, and each of us in turn go to the chest and open it, and there was a prize for each of us inside. And my prize was originally Straga was only a medium, as that's a medium creature, as that's what the size limit is for starting dragons, and then they advance in size category as you level up according to the class. However, my gift was that when I touched the chest, Straga and I erupted into like this massive agony of pain and both passed out. When I awoke, Straga was a large. His growth had been accelerated by the advocates. So now I have a large dragon with me, and it's pretty crazy. So Straga is pretty amazing. D is pretty amazing. Everybody else got something else, and we ended that session right there. And I think at 11 minutes, this is a good enough video. So this has been a introduction to my Dragonrider and the story that he is going through currently in the campaign that I am playing in. So on behalf of Straga and of Diagothalus, thanks for listening, and I'll be back for part 2.